So, here we go. Going live. And hoping it all, there we go. Yeah, we got the good sound. So. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about, I feel like talking about music production. Something I was just working on a little bit of. I'm working with, as I said, Mike Nova in Canada for a band we call Troth for now. I don't know if we're going to change the name or not, but for now it's called Troth. And we're actually on Reverb Nation's charts. Oh shit, there's something wrong. So it isn't. There we go. Bam. All right, so actually climbing Reverb Nation charts without any help from us at all. It's just, I mean, people are finding it somehow or another all over the place. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But Mike wanted me to help him out with some production stuff, so I was going to make a video about music production. Not this. I'm going to go ahead and remix a song. I'll probably take one of my old songs from a previous mix, a previous album, maybe like even Box Full of Death or something like that. One where I know the mix is pretty good. Box Full of Death is like almost my latest mixing capabilities, so I can find a song off of there that will work. So what I'll do is like disengage all of the. I'll listen to it. I'll play it out like the whole song, and like let it play through so you can hear it. Then I'll disengage the plugins and like play a little bit, and then I'll go through each instrument and show what I did to sculpt it and why. It'll probably be broken down into like chapters type thing, you know, like guitars, bass, drums, overall mix, sub mix, reverbing, you know, room, spatial room, in the you know, all that stuff. But yeah, like break it up, you know, so that it's not just one long fucking video. I'd like to do like even go back so far as to do sub parts. I thought about, and I might do that for like hanging, like the one I could do another one for Mike. I have a song called Quinn Rose, and I like it a lot, but it's just all guitar and vocal. And so I'd like to do a full production of the song, and so that would give me a chance to re-record the tracks, record the drums, record bass, redo the vocals, and just show like how I do like the whole process, and just record the whole thing, you know. Hit the highlights. Don't play. I mean, because Jesus, that'd be like what, 7 hours or so of video to watch, and that would be just so take it down to the highlights, you know, like show like how I set up the vocal booth and everything like that, and why I do it, what I do, how I do, and why. And then of course, you know, the good thing about the one that one right there is, if I decide to do it with the one that I was talking about that earlier. I was going to use one of ours, one of Troth's songs to show, so he could actually do a separate mix if he wants to, because these concepts are really easy. He'll get them in no time, and he'll be, you know, mixing away. But then I could send him the stems, and that way on the album we could have, you know, Sean mix and Mike mix, and that would be pretty. I thought that'd be pretty cool, like, especially if he does some weird stuff and like, you know, production wise, because, you know, he may choose to put phasers on. Yeah, I mean, or whatever he chooses to do, and I'd really like to see that. You know what I mean? He might even take the drums and put them, because it's digital drums, so he could run them through like, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? That'd be really cool. But by picking also one of mine, well, there's a couple things I wanted to do. I wanted to show like what plugins I used and why, and a basic concept idea of how they all work and everything and what they're for. Nothing super in depth, because I honestly don't know a ton. I know how to do stuff and I know how to get things done, but I can show how I do what I do, but I can't really, you know. It's kind of like with those guitar lessons. I couldn't charge anybody, because that'd be wrong. Because you're not going to walk away. I mean, you're going to walk away probably knowing some stuff, but it'd be more like knowing concepts than knowing. Makes sense? Anyway, so the cool thing is, because it's mine, when it went with Troth, I'd want to wait until we released the album before I shared it with like with the public, so that the public could mix and master. But one of mine is already released. I could put the stems up any fucking time I want, and you guys can, anybody that's interested could mix and master it. Like, my only caveat that I would ask is, like, after you finish mixing and mastering, even if you don't have, like, if it's just like a video that says, you know, that has a picture of your, you know, like whatever your logo is, if you'd upload your thing, I'll make a, like a, after the mixing and mastering, I'll do like, you know, remixes, and then I'll put like my mix, and then you guys, everybody can add theirs to the remix of that song. Is there a winner? Sure, maybe there will be. Maybe the audience will pick one that they like best. But I don't know. I mean, again, what the thing is, if I was Joe Barresi, this would be already having, it'd be up to like, you know, a couple like 5,000 people tuned in right now, because I'm nobody. You know, it's like, why should I listen to you? And I get that. I totally get that. Because, you know, I don't have really any proof of concept aside from the fact that I am signed to a record label out of Boston. I have another band that's Trough. That's even, I think the stuff's coming out of that's even better than my solo stuff, where I'm playing all the instruments. But yeah, the band that I'm playing all the instruments is signed, and I have some examples of that, and I might play a little bit here for too long. And I might also play some Trough just to show that, you know, it's fucking dope. Not any of our new stuff. Our new stuff is going to be under wraps for a while, but yeah, man, I'm really excited about showing it off. But I just, yeah, we're gonna wait a little bit longer. We got a couple more songs to do, and then I'll be ready. So, but yeah, I've always had to do everything myself, because of the fact that, like, some people luck out and other people are interested in what they're doing, and no one's ever been interested in what I was doing. So I started having to do. So when I was in a band, my first band I was in, I'd come to practice with like, you know, 3 or 4 songs since the last time the guys were over, and they usually left their stuff at my band room, well, at the band room at my house, and so they come over. I'm like, has anybody got anything written? And usually, like, no. I'm like, well, I've got several songs I've written. So I show them, like, you know, 4 songs, and of the 4 songs, they like maybe 1, maybe 2. And so those other ones just kind of, I still liked them, but nobody wanted to do anything with them, and or they weren't finished. You know, I mean, they didn't have extra parts that went on there, so it's just kind of like, you know, whatever. So. And some parts, I mean, I get some of them probably aren't very good. I mean, that's probably why my band, Gearma, hasn't been super big, because I think the mixes are coming out pretty good, but, you know, it's got to be the music quality. I mean, the quality of the actual music. You know, it has to be, because otherwise people would like it, right? So, but the thing is, I don't do it for likes or whatever. That's why I give my albums away for free. I just want an audience to play to. I don't care, man. I like to play, and I like to sing, and I just like, you know, play my drums, my bass, and all that shit. Pardon me, my neck is just about to pop or so. What time is it? Cool, 12:25. So, yeah, when it comes to music production, I just had to learn all that stuff on my own, because there was really no one that was like backing me up, and I couldn't afford studio time. So I had to buy all the stuff I needed. I needed a drum set, but I was living in apartments and places that really would not have liked a drum set being played. So I got a Yamaha DD55. And I used that to program my drum machine. And then, you know, time went on, and eventually I slowly but surely got the drum set I've got over here. And when I started out, I mainly used plugins that had presets because I didn't know what anything did. I seriously didn't. When I was making mixes and stuff, I didn't know what anything did. Seriously, like when I had like they have like the low cut 80, I really didn't even know what that did. But I noticed that like things started coming out clearer, and I had an idea, and I also was like, well, I mean, bass is bass, so I probably wouldn't want to cut below 80. So let me cut on there. And so like a lot of my earlier mixes have a bit of a professional edge because the bass is everything 80 and below is still it's already cut going in, much less the EQing that I did on it. So there's a box that was going around my head that was bothering me, and yeah, I'm sure you couldn't see, but I could see it, and it just driving me nuts. Uh, so I started mixing. I started mixing and doing songs and recording my own tracks. I had an 8-track recorder, tape deck. And so I was mixing, and I was running into all the typical problems that production people have. How to keep things balanced, how to keep things at the right volume, how to monitor. With the 8-track, there was 8 tracks, so I could do this and monitor the faders. I could just keep things going. And adjust them so those earlier tracks sound like they're breathing and stuff because I was writing all the faders. Now there's just too many, but I can automate it. That's what's really cool. I've got a Korg Nano Control 2 and a Korg Nano Pad. So they're like USB control surfaces. And so one's an 8-channel control surface with a pan knob. So all your major functions of play, record, stop, they're all handled there. It's like $50, and it's got you can arm 8 tracks at a time. You can control 8 tracks at a time, and you can turn 8 pan knobs at a time, and then you can switch to an infinite number of, they call them scenes. And so therefore, like if you got like 20, 30 tracks, you just hit the scene over like 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through, you know what I mean? So that's pretty cool, you know what I mean? And it works. I mean, and the good thing is because you can do it's MIDI, it'll record your movements over however many tracks you record movements. So if you want things moving and panning and fading, I mean, there's really no excuse not to get pretty in depth with it, aside from the time that it would take. It takes a bit of time to do it all, but especially by yourself. It would be nice to have a secondary person, you know what I mean? A second person that was, in the music, that was into it, or, was into the production part of it. But, hey man, you do what you gotta do. I mean, I'm making music and I want to put it out there. I don't care if anybody listens to it or not. I still want to record and listen to my music, so I like it. That was the main thing. I mean, they always say, play music you like. I like my music. So it's nowhere near as good as I listen to like famous people. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm not famous, is because these guys are they're badasses. You know what I mean? This right here is a Behringer B1 microphone. It was like $100 brand new, and I may not even pay that much. I might pay like 60 for it used. Didn't get the case, the hard shell case that came in. As you can see, the shock mount is obviously falling apart, or that's what it is. The rubber band's getting. I should probably replace that sometime. I mean, it's working. It's not doing. I mean, all that does is hold it in place, and I can angle it so that it sits right if I wanted to do that. But yeah, I can just like that or something. Anyways, and I have other microphones and stuff, so I've got good stuff to do recording and things like that. On top of that, I use my pod to SpeedIF. SpeedIF and MIDI really didn't get their due. They really, 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 really did not get their due. They deserved way better than what they got. And if I have any to say so about it, I'll bring them back. I'll bring them back. SpeedIF is such a clean, sweet, dope ass sound that connects directly to your audio interface, left and right stereo through one cable. It takes your, like if you have a processor in your computer, in your I've got a Line 6 Pod XT Pro and FCB 1010 and an FP shortboard MK2. But with the digital inputs and outputs it has, I'm able to send out a digital signal, SpeedIF, dry. So I can monitor in my ears what's coming out of the amp to my mixing board. But what's going to my audio interface is a clean, strong, dry signal with all the jamming and all the emotion I put into it is there. All the tone that's in the guitar is there. There's no loss because the SpeedIF translates from analog to digital. So it's a digital signal going into your interface. There is no conversion. There's no need for like mics or anything like that. You just got a dry channel. And not just a dry plug into the front. It's a dry digital. It goes from, you go into your amp and coming out of that as a dry digital signal going digital into things. So you're not even using any of your inputs on your audio interface. Same thing with my drums. 20 pieces on channel 10. It comes in to the MIDI section there. And if it had a loop, I'd put everything on a loop and I'd assign like the foot pedal to channel 1. That would be on channel 10. This foot pedal would be on channel like 2. That would be on channel 3. You know what I mean? And just on and on until everything in my keyboard would be on like MIDI 4. And so everything would be looped in. And again, I'm still not using any. I got drums, keyboard, MIDI foot controllers, 2 MIDI foot controllers, my Line 6, I've got other things around here I can hook on MIDI, and you know what I mean? I can do all those things, and I'm still not using any of my inputs on my actual audio interface. On my digital mixing board, I have an multi 8 out, so I can run all 8 of those out into my audio interface. So anything going into my mixing board, I can sign straight out into a channel on my audio interface, and then I just go through the DAW and set what the input is, 1 through 8. It's a 16-channel mixing board, and I can just assign 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's just so dope, man. It's insane. If I wanted to have the effects on there, if I don't want to have the effects on there, if I want to have just the compression on there, if I want to record off the mixing board and just have dry track, there's the options are like unlimited. The one and only thing that I wish, well, I'm not even going to talk about that because I have plans. So, getting your music production to I wouldn't say industry standard because that's a kind of a loaded word, you know. I mean, that seems like I'm definitely not putting out industry standard. Fuck it, I'm gonna play a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm talking about stuff. Might as well show something, right? Let's see. The show. Okay, let's go to let's just go to albums. Let's go to music. That's what we're doing. Sorry, I'm a bit stoned. But like, really, what else is kind of new? Let's see. Storage. music. You know, Box Full of Death. Blue Skies is not a depressing one, so let's do that one. All right, so that was Blue Skies. Well, Blue Skies, Blue Skies, Blue Skies, Blue Skies. How do you want to say it? That was off of Box Full of Death, which came out in 2023. Maybe 2024. No, it's 2023 or early 2024. I don't remember. I want to say it's like late 2023. Either way, it doesn't really matter, does it? But from time to time, I've lucked out over the years and gotten like a really, really good mix that I liked a lot, even though I honestly don't know how I did it. Since then, I've gotten better to the point where I can duplicate a lot of the results, and I can now experiment a lot more. And if you happen to be doing music production and you find yourself using presets, try to get off of those as quickly as possible. I'm not saying don't use those as a good jumping off point, but it'd be much better also to learn what your style is, and then find a good jumping off point for you, and then having your own preset for like your own snare preset, because you know there's certain cuts that you know you're gonna be making certain frequencies and certain type of stuff. After a while, it starts becoming like on the snare, you know you're going to cut below, and you know you're going to boost in certain areas when you can't hear the snare trap on the bottom. There's just certain things that and certain plugins do it better for you. And that's what I was going to get into next is like, if you find yourself with a go-to, I don't think that's a good thing, me personally. It speeds up your production. It does. It really does. Is that really something you want? Do you really want to speed things up? I mean, I get, okay, when you're laying the tracks, by all means, go for your go-tos to get a good sound, because you need that dopamine hit. I know you need that dopamine hit. Otherwise, it's like, why keep going? I've been there a million times. Why keep doing this? So you need that hit. So use your go-tos for, when you want to just like, you got finished laying the track down and you're not looking at actually mixing. I would suggest doing recording, mixing, and mastering in 3 different stages. I'd recommend it, because then you can focus on those aspects. It slows it down, but just a beat or two, so you can catch your breath, so you can make sure that there's no mistakes, so that you get it right. As Joe Gilder would say, get it right at the source, get it right from the very beginning. It doesn't even hurt to do a pre-production roll and record, and then use your go-to stuff, and then listen to everything, especially if you're in a band. That's what's been really cool about working with Mike, is that we'll have like we do on Jam Kazan, we'll be hanging out and talking, you know what I mean, whatever, and then one of us is just fucking around on a red, whoa, 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 what was that? They're like, yeah, what about the, oh, fuck, yeah, dude, and we pass it, but we got like a good, like, where would it go from there? Well, that's in D. Let's go to something that's going to change it up for the chorus. Sure. Like what? I don't know. And we start dicking around. What is that riff? That sounded cool. You know what I mean? Then we go, and then so we got a good verse, we got a good chorus, and we got a good bridge. We're gonna need like an intro and outro. So hey man, like you gotta go, I gotta go. So I'll be working on stuff, and I'll send you my sketches of ideas of what I'm thinking, and then you tell me what needs to change. You know what I mean? Like none of it's set in stone. I'll lay like a very loose, like slobby drum part down of what I can hear, what I can hear for the intro, how I hear the parts that are playing and stuff. I'll play the instruments and stuff. I'll play it all. You know what I mean? My parts. And then, I mean, if I'm playing bass on the song, I'll play that. If he's going to play, I'll leave that open for him to interpret whatever he wants to do. But then we start passing that track kind of like back and forth and kind of adding little pieces to it. You know what I mean? He'll add his parts, like, okay, cool, yeah, you're doing that. What we wrote, I'll do this. And he's fucking killing it, and it sounds fucking dope. And he sends it back. I'm like, okay, cool. Now we got our parts. Let's actually hit record. And by this time, we know how the song pretty much goes. You know what I mean? And we've got a good idea of what things are. It's so dope. It really is. It's really dope. And yeah, and like I said, we're just passing this original that ends up sometimes in the trash, man. So some of the original ideas, dude. The song will change like tempo. You know what I mean? They're like the one we're working on now. It was a lot faster. And he suggested dropping it down about 20 beats per minute. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, we can try it and see what. If there's nothing else, we can try it and see what happens. And I think we settled at about 15 beats per minute slower, because it just gave it a little bit of extra. I mean, it did have it had a good feel, but I like when I'm mixing stuff, when I'm working on things, I like it to feel a little rushed. So let's say I know the song does well at 60 beats per minute. I'll try to push to like 65, 67. Because it catches, you're used to playing at 60, and that's very comfortable for you. One thing I can guarantee you is after about the 30th or 40th time listening to this song, it's going to feel slow. And you got to consider that you're going to be performing it. So try and bump it up just a little bit. Especially if it's like an action. I mean, if it's like a fast-paced song, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be kind of driven. You know, it's supposed to be driving people. Push yourself to right almost to the edge of where you, when you find out why I can't go that fast, back it off to you're just about to be able to do it, and then just a little bit back from that, so you can pull it off. It's gonna feel the whole time. You know what you're doing, but it's gonna feel the whole time like it could fall off the rails. Even if it's like 5 beats per minute faster than what you're used to doing, because you have to think a little bit faster. You know what I mean? It's gonna be more like you just wrote it. It's going to be very raw. It's going to feel, if you do it right. Now, if you just work on it, it's just going to be that speed. So it's going to defeat the whole purpose. You just need to bump it up another 5, to do it again. The main thing is, like I said, get it locked in at whatever tempo feels natural. And then when you go to play it, when you go to actually record it, and you know the parts, you know them well, push it a little bit faster than what you normally would. Trust me. Just give it experience. Just give it a try. Next time you're working on a song, give it a try and see if it doesn't add a little bit of a feel to it. It will, because your hands are going to be moving faster. Your hands are going to be doing different stuff. That's going to be, it's just going to be going a little bit faster than what you're used to. And so it's going to feel a little sloppy. But that's going to make it feel alive. It's not going to feel locked into, you know what I mean? It's not going to feel like that. It's going to be pretty damn close. The thing is, once you layer in everybody's parts, the feel of is there. It is there. Especially when the drummer's nailing his stuff and it's just kind of got a bit, again, it feels human. That's what, because no one's going to have the exact same timing. No one, it's just not. I've actually, since I've been down on myself about my drumming, because like I've been, I don't think I'm a drummer. I'm a percussionist that has enough rhythm that I can play a drum set. I have enough coordination that I can play a drum set. I'm not a drummer. Drummers are like Matt Cameron, Dave Abbruzzese, Stuart Copeland, Steve Gadd. I mean, there's some monsters out there. I could be going all day about the fucking great drummers. But yeah, I've got a lot of their kits. Steve Ferrone, Chad Smith, Ringo Starr. I've got a couple of actual samples of actual Ringo Starr's actual drum kits. I've got a couple of actual owned and played by John Bonham drum kits sampled. One of them by Andy Johns, who created the Bonham sound, the Bonzo sound, the big booming levy break sound that everybody's trying to get. He mic'd up the kit that Bonham gave him. And I have that sampled at 127 different velocities at my disposal. But even better, it's recorded with all of Andy Jones's knowledge, which I don't have. I don't have any of that. And one of the true signs of whether or not you're one of the biggest indicators of whether or not you have a good production is the drum sound. Now, if you're going for a trashier sound or an indie sound, you still want those shitty microphones to sound the best representation of what they hear as possible. Does that make sense? I mean, there's some translation from across, you know what I mean? You've got to make sure that it translates across correctly. Everything has its place. Every sound in music has its place. There are some things that are just waiting around. Like you're like, well, this is a piece of shit. It's not a piece of shit. It might only have one song in it that is perfect for. And so therefore we kind of consider it useless. But if you have that on hand, you're like, oh yeah, there's that terrible one. We're gonna use the terrible one that like shorts out all the, yeah. Cause think about, I'll be fucking ripping. I got the other guitars ripping, right? So this one's gonna be cut. Yeah, it's gonna fucking sound weird. Yes, this is a kind of a punk song. It will sound fucking, it definitely will. And we won't, no, we're not going to mix it loud. It'll be like an effect to the guitar. It sounds like it's cutting in and out, but it's not cutting in and out. But when it's, yeah, it'll be crazy. Like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Fuck it, let's try it. Everybody's afraid to look ugly, man. Why? We're not told to cherish ugly. You know what I mean? We're told to cherish beauty. And so that's what we do as we're told. Right? But there's some, I mean, if you don't think ugly can be beautiful, watch Jimi Hendrix play guitar. That motherfucker's face. Most guitarists, John Mayer, he's got a fucking he's got a terrible face. I'm sure I do. I'm sure my shit does not look good. Probably looks like I'm beating it or something. It probably does not look good because I usually have my eyes closed. So I'm probably doing like a lot of mouth movements and stuff. You know. Why? I don't know. Does it help get the notes? Yes, it does. Believe it or not. That's why we do that. Asking guitars, does it help? Yes. It really does. It really does. Because you're kind of looking for mentally, you're looking for the note and you're trying to get your fingers to do it. So that's what's happening. You're trying to get your fingers to do the thing that you hear. And you're kind of praying that and then when when you start getting what you hear and you get in that zone, man, often, like I said, you don't even notice what face you're doing because your brain is just fucking in that little melody zone, and you're thinking, and you're processing, and you're making your hands do stuff, so your face is not worried about what it's doing, but you got to do some bends and stuff, and so your mental, it's the last thing you worry about is what the fuck your face is doing, because you're in that music zone, man. Who gives a fuck what my face is doing? How does it sound? Oh, it's killer, but you look like a fucking monkey that's being fucking beaten with a water sack. I don't even know what a water sack is, but I mean, that's what you look like. I guess a sack full of water. I don't know. A backpack that has nothing but fucking Capri Sun in it. I don't know what a water sack is. But someone's beating a monkey with it, and then they apparently put it up your butt. Because that's what you look like. But how does it sound? Oh, great. It sounds great. It sounds great, Jimmy. Okay, well, that's all that matters, man. Groovy. Hit record. Yeah, but when it comes to music production, that kind of goes to show do whatever makes it work, whatever makes the end product turn out what you hear in your head, or as close as what you hear in your head. Don't worry about what's cool. Don't worry about if it's fashionable. Don't worry about if it's the going thing. You're gonna sound like somebody, so don't even fucking worry about that shit. Unless you invent your own instruments, in which case you're still gonna sound like somebody. Because Bjork made her own instruments too. That's the whole thing about the whole Bjork. Why her shit was so weird. They They were allowed to be children and play and also work and build their own instruments and stuff and learn about music simultaneously from like young, but more allowed to be free and think of stuff and not be hindered by, the Western scale, the Eastern scale. It just fucking, is it good music? Yeah, then just do it. Just do what you do, And so it comes with some really, really weird music. It's very good, but it's just, we'll only tolerate weird for so long. Then we've got to get back to normal. Weird is a nice break from normal. But if you live in weird, it's no longer weird anymore. And so you got to find a new weird. And then things start getting weirder and weirder and more weird until, like I said, eventually you're just looking at the window laughing hysterically at the fact that the mailman is dropping off the mail. Because your sense of weird has gone to the point where normal is fucking weird as shit. It's just the progression of everything. When those people that were talking about, like, rock and roll is going to, or, this music or that music is going to destroy our way of life, they were being overdramatic. But look at what's happening now. Is it not like completely, their way of life is completely destroyed, isn't it? Gay meant you had some happy clothes on. Everybody was not having a gay old time when the Flintstones, you know what I mean? They weren't. That's not what they meant. Not then. Not then. And that's what, in that sense, I like the word of gay for, like, saying that's gay, because, like, it's that old-fashioned, shitty fucking, well, we're going to have a gay old time, aren't we? That's fucking gay. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? And that's what it actually meant, happy. You know what I mean? And it's just like a corny way of, you know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here. Corny ass. You know what I mean? That's more for me. That's what that mean. What it mean for me. I know. But you don't necessarily get to just take a word, change its meaning. Like mulatto means fucking, biracial. I don't get to take that and then change it to mean a fucking coffee espresso. You know what I mean? I want a mulatto. I don't get to change it to be a cheeseburger, mulatto with cheese. I can make a mulatto fucking sandwich. You know what I mean? I could easily do like a rye bread and a fucking, white bread and a rye bread. And it's like a mulatto sandwich. I'd be getting shit. Especially with my skin tone. And my skin was a little bit darker, like during the summertime. But during the wintertime, be like, how dare you make it like, come back in the come back in the spring and summer. Talk to me then. I'd have to grow out this shit out here so you can prove it. You know what I mean? Because like this is like gone, but this right here still grows, so I can let it. I should just be crazy, and get the George Jefferson thing kind of going on, because mine's not like tight. It's got that wavy kind of hair. But it definitely, if I brush it out, it sticks out, so I should just grow this side. I tell people I do the reversal of the 90s. I'm the inverse opposite, man. That's like I said. The one place I can't grow hair is the only place I want to grow hair. In the 90s, I had my head shaved on the sides like this, you know what I mean? And all around the back. And the top was like down to here. Because my hair was thick as shit. And it looked, people were like, until I pulled it back and like, pulled my face out, you know what I mean? People didn't even know that it was shaved. Like, whoa, your hair's shaved on the side? I'm like, yeah. And I go, like, how long? I'm like, it's been this since like fucking senior year. And we're like, past, 1 year past college, man. We're like 2 years separated from that shit. So yeah, it's been a while. But now that's the only place I can't grow hair, man. The one place I want to. But oh well, you know. Who knows? Who knows? I've decided I'm gonna go ahead and start. Just you can hear my throat. It's just too rough on my shit. I'm just gonna start eating instead of smoking, and I'll smoke from like on Fridays and stuff. But I'll just eat a lot of pot because I've got a way to make chocolate now, and I've got some way to make breads and all kinds of goodies to have around the house, and I'll make sure that I eat. I am eating, but I mean, just to make sure that, like, especially if I had some like pot bread for sandwiches. Oh yeah. The more I eat, the hungrier I get. What the fuck? Oh yeah. Dude, what's going on? Oh yeah. What the fuck? The whole sandwich. Because if you're not stoned eating the sandwich to start with, then what's the point? Anyways, back to music production. There's a lot of stuff that they just won't tell you about stuff in colleges and shit, because there's a dirty little secret they don't want you to know about. But I plan on going into that. There's a reason why volume from a speaker and volume of like liquid. There's a reason, and it's actually a very good analogy if you look at it that way. There's a whole thing about loudness units and a lot of stuff that goes to peaks of level ratios and all that shit. There's a lot to it, but I mean, I'll go through all that when I'm mixing and mastering and stuff. Especially when I'm mastering, I'll cover a little bit when I'm mixing, but when I'm mastering. But yeah, the dirty secret is that there was a volume war in the late '90s, early 2000s, and commercials. Corporate America won. So they set the industry standard to give about like the top at least 5 decibels without clipping, without destroying your speakers. So that way commercials can be as loud as they want to, and it won't blow your system because it never goes past 0. Understand? So like if you leave the room, your amp is not even like when you turn it up, like what, even if it's at full blast, it's not at full blast, because when the commercials kick in, that's still not full blast. So it's not enough to blow your speakers. That's how they know. No matter how loud you have your speakers, when that commercial kicks in at a good 5 decibels louder, it's not going to do anything, is it? It's not going to hurt. It's got music. They usually have music in the background, don't they? Yeah, it's low fucking, it's loud. So it's not a matter that you can't get your music that loud. It's just they wanted to save that extra headroom in audio in case you leave the room. Isn't that fun? All music companies have bowed down to the and the people that know about it. I'm sure they didn't. It wasn't a big like known secret. It was probably like once it got set, the few people that knew kind of left and went and told everybody else like what the actual mastering levels that they came to. Like, okay, we found at the peak, because they weren't at the what's going on. Whatever that loudest album that came out at that point in time, they're like, okay, we figured out what it is. We talked about what's going on. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to master to about like negative 14 lofts, and they go through the whole thing and they set these industry standards. They're like, oh fuck yeah, listen to how loud that is. Exactly, man. Yeah. Now you're at industry standard level. And as they pass away and go away, it's just set in stone. The instructors go, why, when you ask why? Because that's the industry standard set. Right? That's just the industry standard set. So, I mean, any teacher that teaches has learned this. So they're not going to teach you anything else but. They learn from Joe Barresi, or they learn from, like, you know, Andy Sheps. They learn from one of these guys what the proper volume to get. And these guys have Grammys. You're going to argue with them? Do you have a Grammy? No. I think they would know whether or not this should be -14 or whether it should be fucking what it should be. Well, on the mastering side, that's the whole mastering side. I don't deal with the mastering side. And they go talk to the mastering, and the thing is, the mastering would be where it would actually be at that level. Because that's even smaller and fewer people. You have to have a very, very keen, very good ear to do that job. You have to understand music very, very well. It's preferred that you have like a I'm sure like those type of people probably have their own home listening environment that's like fairly acoustically perfect, because they're the type of people that sound matters so much that certain frequencies and stuff just kind of just grates on them. You know what I mean? It just bothers them. So I wouldn't doubt you go in their house, they probably have like a listening room. They probably like it for like parties and stuff. Which, I mean, it's not like it kills them, but like if you're listening to like a mix critically listen to a song, and there's something bad in there, it's probably for those people, it's probably like, okay, yeah, but they're like, okay, that 2,000 kilohertz, 2,000 hertz, that's just it's too much. And then the bass is way too, you know what I mean? And they can tell you exactly which frequency it is too. Then put it through their mastering shit, and there. What'd you do? There was some compression issues. It needed to be this. It needed to ride a little bit more. So I used to get a couple decibels of volume just to move things around a little bit, and then and then I used another compressor at the end to bring the overall volume all the way up, as loud as it can go, and still have movement and still have dynamics. Sounds great, yeah. Industry standard. When a commercial comes to them to master, it's a little bit louder. There's enough room for them to do it, so the people that are mastering at home, they're looking at the people that are doing it, Larson, different people that are doing the mastering professionally, and asking them, how do I get my masters to sound like your masters? And whatever they say becomes the grapevine, the YouTube tip, which becomes the industry, which becomes the home studio standard. And we all just follow suit without ever asking why, because this is how it's done. But there's a plugin I had called Unlimited that happened to open my eyes a little bit. I think it might be one of those masters. They needed their own plugin, you know what I mean, to whatever. And on top of that, it's called Unlimited. Maybe they didn't like the fact of what's going on, so they get the code copied, and it's a free mastering limiter called Unlimited. And I started noticing that the mixes I was doing in there were strangely louder than any of the other ones that I was using, the other limiters. So I needed a loudness analyzer, and I got one. And I started looking at the loudness volume, and I'm like, what are LUFS? Because they're lower on this one than they are on this one. Loudness units. What the fuck are loudness units? The loudness units. I know what a decibel is, but what the fuck is a and I started studying on it. Loudness units, full scale. LUFS. It loves you. Yeah, it's, but now it's out there, isn't it? I mean, at least it's been recorded. I don't know if anything will pass about it, but it's out there. I could show you the difference, definitely between like one of what I've learned in the last very little bit, especially about compression. Okay, so it's all about on the mix end. They say that a good mix doesn't need to be mastered, and I get what they're saying, but it doesn't need to be, but it can be. So, what I do is try and get as clean of a mix. As clean. I mean, you gotta get clean. It's gotta be clean. There can't be any artifacts in there. It can't hit the compressor too hard at all. Like at all. Because when you start going into the mastering stage, you're going to be really exaggerating. You're going to be really bringing up the volume. And as you bring up the volume and, you know what I mean, the whatever, it's going to, those little tiny artifacts are going to start to become bigger artifacts that start to distort. So you see how you got to get all those artifacts that got to be completely gone. You got to get a clean mix going. It doesn't even have to be all that loud. But, ow, sorry. I'm getting louder than industry standards on my mix before I hit the mastering stage. I'm getting louder than what they recommend for the industry standard for the mastering stage in my mix stage. In my mix stage, I'm probably getting the levels that commercials get with as clear. Whether, I mean, if I had to, if I had permission to use like a professional mix, I could show you that my mixes are actually louder than a lot of industry standard mixes, you know, from big bands out there. And I'm sure I'm doing something fucked up. I'm sure I am. But how does it sound? How does it sound? It sounds, especially what I'm doing now. What I've learned about here very recently, I learned about I learned limiting, I learned clipping, I learned EQ, I learned compression, I learned multiband compression, but I never really dealt with transients. And there's a new plugin, not really new, but it's with Plugin Alliance. I got it new recently. I think it's called Trinity Shaper, but it can be a transient shaper, it can be a multiband transient shaper. And holy crap, I had no idea what a transient shaper could fucking do. I mean, those kick drums were like punching so fucking hard. It's ridiculous, and it's so loud and so clear. I mean, I'm able to, even on professional mixes, after I drive it to a certain level, like after I get over a little bit over half on my I have a main knob right here that controls my studio monitor speakers. And as I'm listening back, I usually listen kind of quietly, and then as the mix gets done, I start testing to see how loud I can get it, how clear is it, how loud actually can I get this thing to go. And on professional mixes, from a CD, on a CD going through the same system, I get a little bit over like right around 3/4, and the red light for the limiter starts clipping, starts coming on to let me know that it saved. It knocked down a spike that could have blown the speaker. And so I try to stay away from that. As soon as I see that light coming on at all, I back off quickly. These aren't the best speakers, but they're fucking, they work. They're really good. I get really good results. But I'm almost able to crank my mixes almost all the way full blast before it starts to clip. Almost all the way. I mean, they're just super fucking clean. It's just super fucking clear. I've got to get my EQing down better, and I got to get my compression down better, and I got to get my transients down better. I'm still working on it. I'm not a professional, but once I get those three down, I've got the effects end. That was my big deal when I was coming up, was making. I used to bury my voice with effects. I hate my voice, and so I bury it with effects like reverb and delay and stuff. You never could make out what I was saying. I'm like, but does the music sound good? I want to get a different singer. I'm trying to get a demo together to show that I can do this. That I'm not trying, this isn't supposed to be the finished end result. It just really isn't. This is like my demo reel to get me into a freaking studio or somewhere, where I can actually work. Does it sound good? Oh, I can't make out. I get that. How's the music sound? But anyways, so yeah, it's I'm thinking about playing another song here. Let's see. I like this one. So, like I said, I'm not the best mixer, the best drummer, best anything like that, but that was all me. I did all that shit, and then all the mixing, all the mastering, all the instruments. I did give a copy of that album to Simone Cohen. He makes he runs Chocolate Audio. They make expansions for BFD, and I own all 4 of the expansions that they make, and they're really, really good. So I sent him a mix of one. At least I think I might have gifted him the whole album. I gave a lot of copies of that away. Um, friends and family. Um, so yeah. But I gave one to Simone, and he wrote back and said it sounds great, but the drums don't sound. They sound very. What do you say? Basically they weren't affected. There was no effects on the drums. And I wrote back. I was like, yeah, I was trying to go for like a very raw kind of sound to it. And he didn't really write back, and I really didn't write to him. It wasn't like I wasn't upset or anything like that. And neither was he. I mean, he's kind of like a whatever. And so that kind of sat on me for a while. Like I was going for like a raw sound. I mean, usually people talk about how some drums sound too affected. All right, well, let's go through and try and tweak with it a little bit. And so I was playing it, and I'd hit it in solo mode, and I'm like, oh, that didn't sound right at all. You know what I mean? Like what he meant was I hadn't done anything to the drum set. Sure, it sounded great. I mean, the drum set sounds good because it was mic'd well, it was recorded well, and all that stuff. I hadn't done anything to it to make it fit that song. I hadn't adjusted the room mics, the volumes of it has all that. Basically, with BFD, you have all the access as if you were behind the control panel in the recording booth, and that drum set was being played either through this right here, or through an E kit, or through MIDI that you got from It has its own MIDI built in. You can program your own MIDI. You can do. There's a lot of different things you can do for drum patterns, and so you're basically the engineer behind the desk, and they're basically dry, raw drum sounds that are exactly how the drums sound, but there just hasn't been any EQ applied to it. That's for you to do on your end from the original tracks to make it fit your song. They're not going to tell you how your song goes. And for that, BFD is the best VST drum program on the market, period. Plain simple, full stop. There's just you can have your sound. Is it the easiest one to use? No. Is it the fastest? No. Is it easy to use? Yeah. Once you get used to it, I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve, sure. But it's nothing you can't get over. And the sound quality is so fucking worth it because, like I said, it has multi-outs. So if you wanted to run like a regular, once I record this drum set, whatever my performance was, I run that through BFD. And then I can bypass all the effects and then have each one of those instruments, like the kick on its own track, going out to my actual mixing board and using built-in plugins from, I can mix it inside BFD and use the plugins they have, which they have a top-notch set of plugins in there, or I can route it out like I would any regular session. Basically, I just set up the drums to be what they are, make sure the levels aren't clipping or anything like that inside of BFD, and then close BFD down as if it wasn't even there, as if the drum tracks were live, and then I mix it as if it whatever, and I use all my regular plugins that I normally would, all my EQs, all my stuff that I normally would. Side chain things. I mean, it's really easy to do everything. It's so easy to do anything. And then if you change like kits, you don't have to change your drum map. It really is, as far as the drums go, it is the best drum program on the market. Toontrack called their superior. Technically, BFD could sue. Papa John's had their better ingredients, better pizza, and Domino's tried to sue. And so the judge decided to hold a taste test. And what they found is that people enjoyed the Papa John's better. You did is just a massive marketing promotion for Papa John's by trying to sue them by saying, you can't just say your pizza tastes better. That's bullshit. All right, let's go to court. And they're just expecting to say, yeah, you can't say that. And he's like, no, let's just find out real quick. Are they lying? No, they're not lying? Okay, then they can use that fucking slogan all they want. But you get better pizza and then you can fucking talk shit then. Apparently your pizza fucking sucks. Look at the reviews left behind. But yeah. Getting anxious about mixing and stuff. I don't know. I get I won't say worked up about stuff, but when I focus on things I really like knuckle down and do it. It doesn't hurt to have a deadline. The sooner the deadline the better. Because if I have time to put it off, I know how long it takes me to get stuff done. So I will put it off until like if I know I need like 5 hours to do it, I'll put it off like the last 10 in case there's any errors. You know, I can double check and fix it. I don't push it off to like the last 5 hours, but if I know it's going to take 5 hours to do it, you're probably not going to get me to move too much. Well, if you do like an hour now and then an hour, I don't do that. I just don't. I don't do that. I knuckle down. I throw it in drive. Put that bitch in fifth. And I get shit done. And I get shit done. And I won't say it makes me lazy, but it does make me procrastinate a lot. Because like I said, I know about how long it takes me to do stuff. So I'm like, I got a month. Oh shit, I'm just going to sit around for it'll only take me a week. So I'm going to sit around and just fuck off for like, yeah. Why don't you get started? Okay, I will get started and get it prepared. I'll get the template started. While I'm here, go ahead and import all the things I'm going to need. Because that way now, instead of needing like a week, now I just need like 3 days. If I get all this done right now, because this is the main part is getting all these and get these organized and everything together. Now it's just a matter of going. Okay, hit play. Yeah, it's done. Glad I saved myself an extra 5 hours because there is a little bit of EQ problem in there and I can fix that, but it's not going to take me fucking 5 hours. It's probably going to take me like another hour. I'm not going to procrastinate it. I'm going to go ahead and get it done. We are coming down to like the last 4 or 5 hours. So just go ahead and knock it out and get it done. And then chill for the last 3 hours. All right, so 1 hour and 13 minutes. I don't know if anyone's tuned in. If they are, I'm gonna head out. I got more to talk about on music production and stuff, and like techniques and stuff like that. But I'll save a lot of it for. This was laying the groundwork for my mixing thing. That's what I just did. I just gathered all the stuff together, gathered all my thoughts together. So when I go to do mixing, I can just. And so you can see right here as I do the compressor, and then we're going to activate this, and all right. And that's how you do guitars. Now we're going to go into basses and like fade the camera out and bring the bass in. But I'll just record it as one big long track and then just cut the little pieces into, yeah. Pow. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night. Kung Fu Fist! See, you never know when it's coming at you and you just, see? You gotta be on guard. Pow! You ain't got shit, see? You gotta be on guard. Tow! You ain't got shit. Get out of here. No! Stop. It's not going to work. Kung Fu Fist!